content, you develop content. When you look at the amount that Apple, TikTok, and so forth pays, YouTube pays to the African continent, it's really, as you have said. I won't say you don't have to be politically correct, but it's micro. When you look at the one they pay in Europe and so forth. So the international community needs to support the continent with research, with innovation, because content has to come from all those platforms so that we're able to have an equal share with the rest of the world in terms of that. So that also brings the youth of the continent to participate. Don't only come when you're complaining that there's crime, there's a coup and all that, but ensure that this is turned into a positive platform. So the G20 is a huge international platform that respond to that.
Maybe this is a pedestrian or a simple way of looking at it, or a dumb question, but don't you feel like the system is broken and almost skewed against Africa? Why do we need to ask for permission? It almost sounds like we're asking for permission to process our own things. Why can't we, and why do we need technical support from them and all these expertise when we've got brilliant minds, we've got the best universities that are capable? I mean, we export some of these expertise. Why do we almost need to? Why do we need a G20 to ask them to start processing our own minerals? Why can't we just do it?
Yeah, so
build the factories.
So you are. It's not a dumb question. It's a relevant question. So look at Johannesburg in Africa. South Africa is the most industrialized part of the continent, but you need money to sink a shaft. For example, if you want to sink a shaft, just one gold mine shaft is not less than 5 billion. And for it to then reach a particular level of profit, it's a huge amount of money. So that's why we're not asking for permission. You must be on the table where decisions are taken, where this money must be deployed. It's not a permission to say there is money in the world. Invest it, enable us to do the research, enable us to innovate, enable us to, so it will then enable us to do what we are saying, to process the gold, to ensure that the gold becomes a finished product which we can sell to the world. Or if it's cobalt, like in the DRC, for you to do what you need to do to process cobalt, you need huge amount of money. So it must be processed, it must be invested and be done by the people of the DRC. So that was the discussion. So it's not like we're asking for permission. We were on the table saying this must be done here in the continent, and this is how it should be done with the involvement of the people of the continent.
I feel like somebody who's already doing that is Ibrahim Traore. What are your thoughts on how he's doing things? Because it would seem to us people on the ground, he's moving his country forward, even though it's an unconventional method.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, firstly, the position of the AU is that there must be a democratic government. It must be not a military arrangement. What is happening, I will not want to really dwell into much into it because of, but the reality is that South Africa is the most industrialized part of the continent. There is no country in the continent that even comes closer to what South Africa has achieved. But there won't be a flourishment in a sea of poverty. South Africa has to work with the people of the world, including the African continent. So that's the only thing I can say. And say that we all have to work to build that industrial base with all the countries in the continent. That's far I can say.
It sounds like we don't recognize Ibrahim Traore as the president because he's not democratically elected.
I'm being politically correct.
so we don't recognize him as a leader of Burkina Faso.
The African Union does not recognize any military coup.
Okay, fair
enough. It must be through a democratic process.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so G20, when it happened, right, a few days before,
We saw cops on the highways. We saw people cleaning
Flowers on the highway.
flowers.
Potholes were getting fixed.
Yeah, things were.
Traffic lights in Santon were a
Everything was
breeze. William
working.
Nickel, you could drive now.
Yeah, we're driving.
Yo, bro,
We're living
we
soft.
felt safe.
Soft like a
Police
bee.
were around. We felt safe, bro, to walk around and take selfies in Santon. You can't do that now.
Yeah. Where are those people? Where did you find them? Because it's just like they came out of the blue.
Like the potholes. How did you start seeing the potholes? Like, oh, we got potholes. You know?
I mean,
And now they're gone, by the way. They're gone. They left the G20.
Yeah. The rains came, the potholes are now gaping.
no, the potholes are not back. They're not back. They're gone forever. And the street lights will work forever.
Yeah.
You know, before the elections, we used to get this because I think there was a period of about 30 or 60 days with no load shedding.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, because there's elections tomorrow or in a month. After load shedding, after elections, load shedding will be back.
Yeah.
Well, a year and 3 months now.
Yeah.
There's no load shedding.
Yeah.
So I
Shout
believe,
out, man.
But electricity is very expensive though.
It is true. It's expensive, but there's work that we're doing too. And the Minister of Electricity spoke about that. I saw he also came to your show.
Yes.
So also with the city of Johannesburg, I believe they have turned the corner. It's not gonna be easy, but those challenges will always come up and so forth. But they have now turned the corner. And the mayor has said that what he did during the G20 period, they will sustain it. And the premier said they will sustain it. But obviously, you will not see the police everywhere because this was about the event.
Of course.
But they have turned the corner. They will sustain according to what they have said. And I believe them because I sat with them in a lot of meetings prior to the G20. And already we had a plan that even beyond the G20, such meetings need to continue to look into the potholes, to look into the roads, to look into the robots, to look into the crime situation in Gauteng. And it was not only the city of Johannesburg; it was Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, and all the mayors in Gauteng. So they will continue with that project. And not only this, it's just that you only saw it in Johannesburg. Even in the Eastern Cape, there was the same because they hosted a lot of G20 meetings, side meetings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Gqeberha, in East London, Kruger National Park, Hoedspruit, Northwest Sun City.
Yeah.
So in all these areas, it has had an impact, and the municipalities have now, I believe, they will now work on to ensure that service delivery continues at that rate. It is a challenge, I know. I'm also a resident of the city, so I also experience it. So it is a challenge, but it's work in progress.
When last we were in the CBD? Have you been in the CBD recently?
No, not now.
It's bad.
I was there. I was there
It's a horror
just.
show.
I was there just prior to the G20.
It's bad.
The horror show.
Yeah. It's like a different country, bro.
Yeah.
Like even I don't go. Even I'm scared, bro.
Yeah,
Like I'm
it's
not going to that country. No ways.
But I go to the CBD almost every 2 weeks, so because the ANC NWC sits in the CBD every time, so we do go there from time to time. So I know that we do have real challenges in the city of not only the city of Johannesburg, most of our cities across the country. So, but the municipalities have to ensure that they enforce the bylaws. They also jack up their maintenance plans and so forth. But also the private sector, because some of the buildings are not owned by the municipality. They're owned by individuals and so there is work that we need to do to clean it up. I agree.
But it sounds like it's just all talk because when we had Panyaza Lucy.
What's up, YouTube? I was just setting up my stream. It's been a while since we did a live stream. Yeah, so I think the next moving forward up until we get a better platform. I think when we're doing like the live analysis and the live trading and all this stuff, We're gonna be doing it on YouTube. Okay. Part of the benefits of YouTube is that okay, everybody has. You don't have to download an app to be able to access the stream. And then also, as soon as the stream is done, it stays on the channel. So there's no need for me to like upload um, uh, the training video, if I can put it that way. Okay. So yeah, that's what we can do, right? So let's just go ahead and look at some of these markets, guys. The market these days is going to be moving a little bit differently, mainly because of the festive seasons. A lot of these companies close down, and then the market tends to slow down, right? The forex market. You know, this year it seems as if it's taking a different turn. In the previous year, like last year during this time, the markets were trending very nicely, right? Then I guess this year now they're moving quite differently because they are moving sideways, right? So that's why it's a bit challenging to trade now, but the opportunities are there, and you know these days we have more markets that we can trade. Okay, so we're not just limited to the forex market. We can also trade on the crypto market, which is open 24 hours a day. It's not necessarily dependent on the forex market, but it's available for us to trade. It's also independent, right? So it's like it moves on its own engine, right? Another market that we can trade are the synthetic markets, the synthetic indices, right? The synthetic indices, they are available to trade every single day, right? And then the volatility is great there. They also trade very nicely, so there's excellent opportunities there as well. Okay. So we're not just limited to the Forex market, guys. We can also trade on, the crypto. We can also trade on the synthetic markets, right? So hold on, guys. I was just getting a call. Let me just respond. I get a lot of calls, especially when I live stream. Live streaming. Just hold on, guys. Live streaming. Live streaming. All right. So, as I was saying, guys, we have three markets that we can trade, right? We can trade the forex market, we can trade the crypto market, and then we can trade the synthetic indices market, right? All of these markets are pretty amazing, right? And when one market isn't moving the way it's supposed to, we can jump to the next, right? So, yeah, we don't have to stop trading because it's the festives, guys, right? We don't have to stop trading because of that. We've got several markets that we can trade, you know? If the forex market is slow and we still want to make money, we can jump on the, boom and crash. We can jump on the volatility 100, volatility 150, 75, the step index, jump index, or the DEX index. There's several things that we can trade that can make us money, right? It can make us real good money. Okay. So we don't really have to be limited like that, right? But anyways, let's just get to it. Let me also show you this other tool that, okay, you guys on YouTube can't see this one, but there's a correlation table, right? So I sometimes use this correlation table to just help me to like identify very quickly. Like the first step would be obviously to look at markets which are moving, right? And then I try to use this to find similar or opposite moving markets, right? So yeah, um, so we've got, I'm currently looking at the USD CHF, and then other markets of interest would be the AUD USD, the CAD CHF, the Euro CHF. Let me see down there, and then the GBP CHF, the GBP JPY, right? So other markets would be would be your um, USD. I'm getting a lot of messages right now, guys. I'll respond to you, okay? I'm getting a lot of messages. Let me see. Hey guys, I'm getting distracted, eh? I'm getting distracted. My bad. I'm getting distracted by other messages, right? So, anyways, let's just quickly go through these markets, guys. Okay. So, let me just see who's on my YouTube's live stream. How many people do I have? Very minimal. Okay. So, anyways, on when we open up our MetaTrader 5, right? There's a few things that we need to look out for. If we have um, set up our stream, there's about 6 things that we need to see. Okay, so there's 3 things that are added to our screen. So the first thing is you've got the arrow pointing to the upside. You've got your entry dashboard on the top right hand side of the screen, and then you've got the price action signal at the bottom right of the screen. Okay, so the arrow, the entry dashboard, and the price action signal, these are our 3 entry confirmation indicators, right? So in order for us to get a buy and a sell entry, these 3 indicators need to, basically be saying the same thing. They need to be telling us to buy, right? And then additionally, we've added moving averages, right? So we have 3 moving averages. We have the red moving average, the blue moving average, and the purple moving average, right? So these moving averages are here to help us to, identify the trend of the market, right? So the idea is that when we are trading, guys, we want to open up trades in the direction of the market. Okay, so if the market is moving up, right, we want to be opening up buy trades. Okay, that's why we put the moving averages. Okay, so that we can see that we are taking the entries which are in the direction of the trend. Okay, and then, you know, these moving averages, the red one is the 20 EMA. These are exponential moving averages, right? So it's the 20 EMA, it's the 50 EMA, and it's the 200 EMA. Okay? So these moving averages, guys, they if they're stacked in this order, so if the 20 moving average is above the 50 moving average and the 50 is above the 200, then that indicates to us that this is an uptrend. Okay, so when you see that the market is in an uptrend, then you open up, you look for buy entry confirmation, right? So which means that you want to see an arrow pointing up, like so. You want to see a buy on the dashboard, and then you want to see a buy on the price action signal. Okay, so that's how you find buy signals. Okay, so we buy in the direction of the trend. So our objective is to open up buy trades in uptrends, and then we want to open up sell trades in downtrends. Okay, so for a sell trade, um, you firstly have to look at the moving averages. So if the moving averages are stacked in the opposite direction, like what you see right now on the USD or on the UK 100, right? If you see that the red moving average is underneath the 50 moving average, the blue moving average, and if the blue moving average is underneath the purple moving average, which is the 200 EMA, okay, then this tells us that this is a downtrend, okay? So that's basically what it is, guys. So the purpose of the moving averages that we've added is they help us to see visually or to visualize the trend, okay? We can clearly identify the trend of the market by just looking at the moving averages because that's very important because now the trend of the market, is basically showing you the direction where the price is going to go. So if if the trend is down, it means the direction of the market is down, right? That just means that we should only be looking for selling trades, right? And then if the direction of the market is up, it means that the market is trending up, right? And when the market is moving up, we need to be looking for buy trades, okay? So if we approach the markets in this order or in this fashion, it becomes easy for us to identify good opportunities, right? And then it also becomes easy for us to actually get into good trades. Okay, so that's basically how you do it. Okay, it's very, very easy. You just take it those steps, right? So, anyways, the first step would be to identify the trend. Okay, so step number one would be to look at the moving averages. And then, if they're telling you that the market is in a downtrend, then now step two, you look for your entry, which then the entry is when now you look at the arrow. You see the arrow like that. So for a sell trade, you'd have to see a down arrow like what you're seeing right now on the screen. And then you'd have to see like a sell on the entry dashboard right there. And then you'd open a sell you'd have to also see a sell on the price action signal. Okay. So once those conditions have been met, then now you realize that you can have your trade right there. Okay, so let's just quickly let me show you guys where what to do, right? So then now once we've got our sell trade, which is our entry, okay, the next step now would be to determine our exit. All right, so then the way we get out of trades in this system, once we have our buy and sell trade, right, we can put our stop loss at the 50 EMA, okay? And then we can model a 1:1 risk ratio, just like that. And then you've got your trade, just like that, in easy steps, guys. So how many steps was that? Step one was identifying the trend. Step two, the entry. Step three would be the exit, which is the TP and the SL, okay? And then we're good. And then from there, you just allow the market to run and you allow it to do its thing. Okay. So Hey, Batman 2, how you doing? So that's basically, guys, how you'd find sell trades, okay? So let's just run through it one more time, right? So in order to get a sell trade, what do we need to do? The first thing is we want to identify the trend, okay? That's very easy. Like I know someone might be asking like, okay, so how do we identify the trend, okay? So it's very easy. To identify the trend of the market, you just look at the moving averages that we've added, which is the 20, the 50, and the 200. Okay, so the red one is the 20 EMA, the blue one is the 50 EMA, and then the red one, I mean the purple one is the 200 EMA, right? And then if the moving averages are stacked like this suggests to us that the market is in a downtrend, right? It means that the direction of the market is toward the downside, okay? So once we identify the trend of the market, so in this case, it is a downtrend, right? So in a downtrend, we then look for sell trades, okay? We're not necessarily looking for buy trades in a downtrend. In a downtrend, we want to get sell trades. Okay, guys? So that's just one of the general rules. Okay. So then now, once we've established the trend, we need to now get our confirmation to enter, right? So then how do you do that? You look at the elements of our trading system, right? So there's three confirmations for our trading system. So you've got the arrow, you've got the dashboard, you've got the price action signal, right? So if you've got a down arrow, like what you see on the screen right now, if you see a sell on the dashboard on the top right of the screen, and then if you see a sell on the price action signal at the bottom right of the screen, then that is the confirmation to sell. Okay, so then you can actually enter a sell, right? And then now, if you enter sell, guys, where do you exit, right? So it's very easy for our trading strategy. Once we've got our moving averages, we can put our stop loss at the 50 moving average, right? We can put our stop loss at the 50 moving average, and then we can put our take profit at a 1:1 ratio, okay? Just like that, guys. Let me just fix my, I just open up another trade. I want to move it like this, okay? And then just like that, guys, that's how you get the trades, right? So let's have a look at some other possible examples. Um, Here's another example. This is the Euro CHF, right? So we do a similar things, guys, here, right? So the first step, guys, is obviously to identify the direction of the market, okay? So how do we do that? So in order to identify the direction of the market, we first have to look at the moving averages, okay? So remember, the red moving average is the 20 MA, the blue moving average, that's the 50 MA, and then the purple one, that's the 200 MA, okay? So now, if the 20 MA is above the 50 MA, and the 50 MA is above the 200 EMA, then that tells us or it indicates to us that the price action or the market is in an uptrend. Okay, so what do we know about uptrends? So when the market is in an uptrend, it means that the direction is going up, right? And if the market direction is going up, it means that the price is going to keep increasing and going to a higher level. Okay, so what do we want to do when this happens? So when the market is in an uptrend, right, we want to get into bullish trades. We want to get into buy trades, right? So on this particular market, we can see that we are in an uptrend, okay? And now an uptrend requires us to get a buy entry confirmation, okay? So how do we confirm a buy entry? So in order to get a buy entry confirmation, guys, there's three things that we need to see. We first need to see an arrow pointing to the upside, right? The latest arrow has to be pointing up, right? So that's the first thing. Hey, Baggy, how's it? So the next thing that we need to do is we need to look at the top right of the screen. So if the top right of the screen, which is the entry dashboard, then if it's telling us to buy, that's our second confirmation, right? And then our third confirmation now would be if we look at the bottom right of the screen, right? Then if this is also telling us to buy, right? But right now it's telling us to wait, so that's not a confirmation yet, okay? But if it was telling us to buy, then that would be an entry confirmation, okay? So then, based off of that, we'd open up a buy trade at that level, and then we put a stop loss at the 50 EMA, okay? So now, if our stop loss is 20 pips away, then that means that we're going to put a take profit 20 pips away, right? So in other words, if our trade is risking $20, for example, it means that our take profit is going to be at $20, if that makes sense, okay? So we can do this across many markets, guys, right? We can do it across many markets. Um, the strategy is consistent amongst all instruments. Okay, so we use the same approach even on things like your indices, your stock market indices, your US 30, for example, your NAS 100, your JPN 225, your Euro 50, UK 100. Okay, even the commodities like and your precious metals like your silver, gold, your Forex majors, Euro USD, GBP USD, for example. And also, we do the same even when we jump over to the crypto markets. Okay? Even when we jump over to the crypto markets, we apply the same method. Okay? Because this trading system is an actually, in actual fact, it's a um, trend following system. Okay, so it's there. Its objective is to help us to identify a trend. Okay, and then our goal is to trade in the direction of the trend, and we want to stay in the trade for as long as possible. Okay, because as long as the trade is moving in the direction of the market, then you keep making those profits, right? But also, guys, there's another aspect that you guys also need to keep in mind when trading. I know a lot of people, they neglect to do this, especially if they've got a lot of trades, but it's a good practice to do, right? So, the practice that I'm referring to, guys, is you need to manage your trades as they develop. Like from the moment you open up your trade, you need to allow the market, first of all, to develop and move and allow it to form. Okay, sometimes it might take a few moments, sometimes it might take a few minutes, sometimes it might take a few hours. Okay, but you need to allow the market to develop. Okay, and then when the market develops, guys, then once you see what's happening with your trade, then you have to manage the trade. Okay, you can't just let it sit there. Okay, so if your trades are making money and they're profiting, you need to secure the profits. There's a few ways you can secure profits. The easiest way would be to use a trading stop. which means that when the market now shifts and move in a certain percentage of profits, what would happen is you would change the stop loss, right? And move it above or below the initial entry price, okay? And then this allows you to be in a better position to continue trading, because if you shift your stop loss when the market now is giving you profits, okay, then it changes the dynamics of the trade, because when the trade is running, you are not at risk anymore. You're not risking, let's say for example, when you open up the trade and that stop loss was at negative $50, for example, right? Meaning that if the stop loss got hit, you'd lose 50. And then let's say your take profit is at $100, for example, right? So let's say you open up your trade and it's a buy trade, right? So the market moves up, you make a profit of maybe $30, right? So the picture that I'm trying to paint is that you go down to your stop loss, change the value of the stop loss, right? And put it at a value above where your trade started. So where your trade started, maybe at like $15 or $20 profit, that's where you put your stop loss, okay? So when you do that, guys, the trade becomes risk-free now, because at that moment or in that instance, the market rules change, because even if the market goes in the opposite direction, it will give you the same result as a take profit hit. You'll close the trade in profit, right? Instead of losing the amount of money that you've made and your initial risk trade or risk capital. Okay. So that's a common practice that I like to use. Um, it just helps you to stay in the game. It helps you to keep um, it helps you to keep uh, the money that you make, basically. You know what I mean? So that's just part of it, right? So, like I say, guys, trading isn't only about the entry strategy. It's also about your. It's also about how you finesse. Your actions. It's about what you do, okay, which is very, very important, right? So whenever you're trading, you shouldn't neglect these other things. I mean, like also things like trading sessions, trading times. These are very important, and these are things that you shouldn't overlook, because they're a big part of trading. I mean, looking at the economic calendar as well, it really does help for you to know when the high volatility news is going to hit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just part of the game. It's just how it is, guys. Okay? So we just need to, familiarize ourselves with the trading environment, you know? So that's basically what you do, guys, right? That's basically what you do. Nothing more and nothing less. You know what I mean? Yeah, but right now, guys, the markets that I would recommend, okay, because I know a lot of people ask me like which markets to trade and things like that. So what I would suggest, guys, is to, for you to have, like two accounts, one for MetaTrader 4 and one for MetaTrader 5, right? Um, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 are similar platforms. They both allow you to do the same thing. They allow you to connect to a broker and then to trade directly on your computer, you know. But where it differs is that there are some brokers which are available for MetaTrader 4, which are not available for MetaTrader 5. So, for instance, if you wanted to trade the synthetic indices, right? And it could have changed in the past few days, right? It could have changed in the past few days. But as far as my knowledge, the Riv is only available on MetaTrader 5. Like your synthetic indices, they're only still available with the Riv. And in order to get into the synthetic indices, you need to have a derivative account, on MetaTrader 5. Okay. So my general rule is this, guys, is that when I can't find good trading signals on the Forex market, when you're talking about things like Forex majors, miners, crosses, gold, silver, those things, if I can't find good trades on those markets, then that's when I would jump over to, your synthetic markets because they're constantly moving, right? They're constantly moving. Okay? So that's basically how I'd approach the markets, guys, right? But I just need to disconnect for a little bit, guys. I'm getting a lot of phone calls right now, and I see that this is like the third time some people try to reach out to me. Okay, but I'll be back in a few and then we can continue. I'll probably join on my other TikTok channel, which is Mr. Indicator 2025, right? The one with 29,000 followers, okay? So you guys can find me there, right? Um, the trading system is still available for you guys if you're interested. I've got a trading system for MetaTrader 4, and then I've got a trading system for MetaTrader 5. Okay, so if you guys are interested in those trading platforms and you want to have a good trading strategy that you can use to analyze the markets, you can just go ahead and send us a DM, right? But for now, I'm gonna disconnect and then I'm probably gonna be live again on YouTube in probably in an hour. You guys can find me there and in my other TikTok channel. Let me see if I can't pull it up so you guys can see my other channel, just before I go. So at the moment, guys, I have two TikTok channels, okay? So let me just show you before I go out what is my other channel, okay? But make sure that it's the correct one, guys, because hey, people um, they make duplicate accounts. Hibza, how's it? How you doing? So, anyways, this is my other TikTok account, guys. Right? So this one, um, you guys can see it's Mr. Indicator 2025, and then I'm following one account, which is this one right here. Okay, my page, right? And then I've got like 26,000 people following this account. Okay, I got 26,000 followers. I thought it was 29,000. So yeah, so you guys will probably see me live on that channel as well. Okay, so I'm probably gonna go live in a few, and then I'll be seeing you guys. I just need to disconnect right now, guys. On YouTube, I'm disconnecting right now. We'll chop it up in a few more minutes, right? So take care, guys. I'll see you guys later.